actually I decided that finish off my rhinos first to make them look decent. I've got my stencils here from Fallout Hobbies and I've stuck it on. It actually looks pretty good. It's actually completely designed for a rhino door because it even has the cutouts. I'm just going to paint it white and I think that'll look pretty good. And so I'll do all the rhinos and then I'll shade them because they haven't been shaded yet, and then they will truly be done. Alright, well, that didn't work very well. It seemed like it went on very well. I tried to apply it as tight as possible. The rhino lid has these little bumps there, which kind of lifted the stencil in a few places, but even where it didn't have bumps, it looks like it really kind of leaked through under the stencil. Of course, I was using just a big brush and some paint, because I don't have an airbrush, so maybe that's why it didn't work very well. You can see how good it would have looked, but yeah, that just didn't turn out good. I'm going to have to spray over that again. So, I don't know if I'll keep doing that or whether I'm just going to put some decals on. We'll have to see how that goes. Disappointing. Alright, so second try is a little bit better. I resprayed it green and then I put the stencil back on. And this time I just used Corax White spray paint. I used some masking tape in order to make sure I didn't get any white on the door. And actually that looks a lot better. There's just a few sort of bleed areas along the blade there, but what I'm going to do at somebody's follower's suggestion, actually, thank you for the suggestion, was just to take some Caliban green on a sponge and kind of weather that area so that the bleeding and the weathering kind of blends all in, and so it just looks like a worn symbol. So that might be pretty cool. I'm going to try that. So I'm going to continue to do the other doors. The stencil doesn't look like it's going to last all 8 doors, so I'm going to have to get another few stencils probably, but that'll allow me to get all these doors done. So that's looking pretty good now. Alright, so this is the third rhino now, starting to bleed a lot out from the shape, which is not a big deal as I said before, but the stencil is dead. It's just ripped and yeah, it's no longer intact. So, stencils last 3 rhinos it seems, so I've got a few more coming in the mail, but that means I can't do my rhinos anymore, so we'll just wait for them to arrive. So I've been stenciling up my rhino doors. I got some new stencils from Fallout Hobbies, and actually now that I know how to do it, they actually last many times longer than the last one. The last one I only did 3 doors. This one has lasted 5 doors and is still good. And I have 2 extras, so I might go on and do my drop pods. But yeah, so that's very good, extremely good. So, and as you can see, the result is pretty good even after 5 applications on and off. So now I've got my doors done. Here are my 8 rhinos with all the rhino doors stenciled. Looks pretty good. Looks pretty good indeed. So what I'm going to do is probably stencil up the sides of the drop pods, and then I might stencil up my mastodon as well. We'll see. Yeah, so that's looking great. That's really good. So instead of trying to manually paint silver on all the doors and all the insides on these pods, which would have taken forever, what I did is I masked off every one of these sort of stanchions here, masked them off on all sides, and then just sprayed it with lead belcher spray. And if you don't have any and you need to paint a lot of silver, lead belcher spray is the bomb. And this Tamiya tape, which comes in multiple different thicknesses, is the bomb. Literally, it's been on there for like 48 hours because I haven't had time to take the tape off, and not a single fleck of paint has come off of these drop pods. It's just awesome. So these look really nice inside now, fully silvered up. And you know, my intention is not to spend a huge amount of time painting drop pods. I'm just going to do a few more silver bits around the outside, and just some details. Eventually I'll be decaling these guys, and then just paint the bolter, paint the little screen in the middle, and that will match Andrew's painted drop pod that he did for me on the inside, and they'll be done. That's it for the drop pods. So that's excellent. And then it's time tonight to hobbies, since my kid didn't go to sleep till like 10:30. So I just received my tea lights, LED flickering tea lights, and my polyfill today. So I thought I'd make my smoke markers. So these are for wrecked and exploded vehicles. this flickering LED tea light, and the polyfill glued together. I've got some done here already. I'm just waiting for them to set, so I'm going to do this final one. That'll be 6, since I only have 6 tea lights. That should be enough. I don't expect too many of my vehicles to get wrecked. And then I'm also just made the balls of polyfill that I'm just going to spray up as smoke, just for pop smoke or smoking buildings or general hobby scenery use. So that's cool. I've got a crap load of polyfill left. My bag I bought is a little bit large, so I don't know what else we'll use it for, but this hopefully will be cool. Very cool. So this is just a flickering LED tea light, some polyfill, some craft glue, and some black spray paint, mostly at the bottom and dusted towards the top. There we go. That looks very cool. That's going to be great for bat reps and for scenery. Alright, cool. So I guess I'll do the rest of them, but yeah, that looks awesome. Alright. Explosion markers are done. These are so cool. Very cool. And one right at the back I didn't bother turning on. So I got 6 of them. Hopefully I don't explode more than 6 rhinos. But yeah, very cool. Super easy to do. And it's going to add a lot to the bat reps, hopefully. But just visually, looks really awesome. Alright, I started on the job of finishing my lion's blade. As you know, I left them all just based and washed. And so now I have to do some highlights and basing. And then eventually I'm going to do decals. But that's low priority. So initially I started just line edge highlighting the Sergeant. And it's just going to take too long. And I've got like 100 of these guys to do, so I just started dry brushing them. And actually they look fine. It kind of brightens up the green again because the wash made it really dark. Brightens up the green again, just gets enough highlights that's acceptable really for 100 Marines. And I'm going to spend more time on my characters. So, you know, did the usual kind of highlights on the red there with the Evil Sun Scarlet. I did spend time, you know, I did the scrolls, so the little details that didn't take long to highlight I've done, but I don't think I can edge highlight all the armor like some people do. And of course picked out the Aquila symbol and any of the weapons that they had. So I think that's fine. Picked out the details on his face with some Cadian flesh tone there, so it looks pretty good. And for the base, my idea was to Mechanicum Standard Gray all over, and then this Astro Granite debris, which kind of makes them look like they're on the rock, like you know, like on Caliban, and their floating fortress. So that looks pretty nice. I might dry brush all of that over with some stone or something when it's all dry. But that's basically these guys done, and only, you know, 50 something left to go. Oh yeah, and to keep the eyes a bit darker because they kind of get covered in the dry brush, I just slapped some Carolberg Crimson in there at the end, and it darkens it right down again, gives it a bit of redness, so it looks pretty good. Alright, so I managed to finish all my tactical Marines in one day, which is great because I thought this stage would take me forever. So I've done all my tactical Marines. I marked out the sergeants A because they have chain swords, so that's who you know as a sergeant, and also they have a tuft on their bases, whereas all the other Marines don't. So the sergeants have the tufts. These tufts are really quite cool, actually. Just put a bit of glue on them and stick them down and they look like grass. It's really quite good. Overall, I think it looks pretty good. I just ended up dry brushing Warpstone over these guys. I think they look pretty good. Good enough for me anyway, for basic Marines. I don't know how people could spend hours and hours. Sorry, trying to get it in focus. I don't know how people could spend hours and hours highlighting tactical Marines. There we go. So, you know, just a bit of red on the bolters there. Runefang silver to brighten up all the silver bits again. What a great color. And then just the Warpstone dry brushed all over. gives it just enough edge, keeps the recesses. When I put decals on there, it's going to look good. Picks up the details. And then some Ulthuan gray to pick up the Aquillas. And Ushabti on the scrolls. So it looks pretty good. Then I've got my Astral Granite debris on the bottom with a dry brush of Terminatus stone. So they look pretty good. So we'll move on to devs and assault squads. All right, Devastators with grav cannons finished. Just the same as everyone else. I wanted to make the green parts glowy. They're painted in Warpstone glow. And then I wanted to make them glowy. I didn't know what to do it with. I guess I could have just stippled more Warpstone glow, but I wanted something a little bit brighter. So actually I used this dry brush paint, Niblet Green, which unfortunately is a little bit, I don't know how to describe it, like nurgly. So you can see it looks a little bit nurgly. So I'm not super happy with it, but I can't be bothered to redo it. So I did it on everybody so they look the same at least. Some of them look okay, like this one looks okay. But some of them are a little bit nurgly. So anyway, they're done. So onwards to finishing Lion's Blade. Alright, last cannon's done, and one of the sergeants. So just pretty standard stuff. Put a little bit of Baharoth blue and white scar there to make the little bit of brightness on the coil there. No, didn't want to overdo it, so just a little bit. You can see it bleeds a little bit onto the red parts there and onto the silver parts. But otherwise, these guys are done. Onwards to the multi-meltas. Alright, so all my Devastators are done. Just finished off with the Meltagun guys. Just did the usual highlight job on all of them. And did some of this muzzle burn. So Drakenhof Nightshade on the outside, Jugivat on the middle, and then Seraphim Sepia on the inside. It looks decent. So I got my muzzle burn going on these multi-meltas. Sergeants there, and I got my tufts down on the sergeants to show who's the sergeant. So that's pretty good. So that's 2/3 of my, well, let's say half of my army done. I still got assault squads. There's only 2 of them though. And then I've got vehicles to highlight and weather. So maybe half or about half of the army done. Alright, so assault squad is done. 11 guys, my 10 normals, and then my dude with the power fist. Occasionally I run a dude with a power fist. And yeah, it looks pretty good. Spent a bit of time just putting in some Baharoth blue and white scar into the base of the exhaust of the jump packs to make them a little bit glowy, kind of like how I did the plasma on my Raven Wing. So that looks pretty decent, and otherwise they're pretty cool. So that is all my normal Marines done. Now I just got to do the command squads and my 2 characters, and then I can start on the vehicles. Alright, the command squad is done, except the banner. These guys were hard. Robes are hard to paint, really hard to paint, and so they were pretty dark, so I had to go over them again with Xandri dust, leaving the recesses dark, and then highlight with Ushabti. It's really hard. I think maybe this guy's the best guy I did. Maybe it looks better on camera than it does in person. I don't know. It looks better on the screen now than if I look at it, but it's really hard to do robes. So I did as best I could, and they look okay, I guess. They don't look as good as the other command squad. These guys are the grav guys, so these guys are the guys I'll be using more often. Some of them look decent. I guess this guy looks okay. Looks okay. And then the apothecary was quite difficult. I had to go over the whole thing again with Ulthuan gray to sort of get rid of the dark look, and then highlight it with white scar. It doesn't look too bad. He's passable. And the banner, I just kind of redid a little bit. So this is pre-painted. I got this off eBay. I just shaded it again to give it a bit more definition, and then I'm going to highlight it up, and then it will be done. And then I just go on to Company Master.
As my die is done, highlighted very carefully. I made the smoke a little bit brighter at the top because it was a little bit too dark. So it looks good now. And very careful on the robe, just minimal highlights. I know it's not as bright as the other guys, but I didn't want to mess it up basically. So just minimal highlights on the robe. Looks good. Got the green and the black highlighted. Got his base done. All the little scrolls. Skull looks good. The gold details. Everything looks good. So I'm quite happy with Asmodai or Chaplain. So next on to Company Master. I just have to dry brush the bases still, but otherwise done. Company Master looks okay. After all, he's just a normal veteran kit with a sword and a gun, so nothing too fancy there, but I think he looks okay. And this standard I bought off eBay, and it was a little bit raggedy, so I just touched it up with some touch-ups and some highlighting, and I think it looks pretty good. Way better than I could have done anyway. There's back, and of course this thing is magnetized onto my standard bearer. So it's there. So there we go. Alright, so I've decided to add a dreadnought to my list just as another area of flexibility. I wanted to do to use it as a drop-in and kill hordes sort of utility. So I did the way that Brandon Grant does it, which is with 2 heavy flamers. So actually to do that, I have to there's no single kit that comes with 2 fists with flamers, 1 on each side. So I bought a dreadnought from somebody online for like 20 bucks that had a left arm with a flamer on a fist already. Here we go. Look, it says here, word bearers must die. And then I bought an ironclad dreadnought kit, which comes with the kind of fist, well, it's more than a fist, I guess, but I'll just run it as a fist with the flamer on the right side. So now I have my 2 flamers. And one is twin-linked and one is not. It doesn't really matter. So, because they don't actually make the kit, as far as I can see, with a twin-linked heavy flamer on the right arm. So anyway, so here we are. So my dreadnought's assembled. It's ready to go. I'm going to keep it separate for painting purposes. I've adorned it a little bit just with the seal there and the Dark Angels thing there, the statue on the top. Got a scroll hanging off this arm here on the right, and this one had some seals and stuff already on it. So that's good enough for me, and just waiting, and I'll prime that up and I'll paint that up. So that kind of just slots into the Dreadnought Squadron slot of the Lion's Blade, just as a 115 point thing in a drop pod. I have also ordered a Lucius pod now off of eBay. It's probably China Cast, the Forge World. You can't actually find it on the Forge World website anymore, but that's what you got to do to get one. That'll be for my Leviathan, which is still en route. Alright, here's my Dreadnought sprayed. Lead Belcher spray is the bomb. Literally, you have to put just a quick pass with it, and it just covers beautifully in silver. So since this is mostly metallic parts, I did the bottom in Lead Belcher and then the body in Caliban Green. And again, Caliban Green, a great spray, beautiful coverage, keeps all the details, just beautiful. So that'll be fun painting this guy up there. And yeah. Alright, the Dreadnought is base coated and washed. So not a huge amount of detail on the Dreadnought, but looking pretty good. I added this symbol, of course, and the purity seal, and so it looks pretty good, and the little icon at the top. I just want to keep it simple. The bottom, you know, the plates, and that's the base that actually comes with the Dreadnought, so it's pretty cool. And washed just all over with Null Oil. And I added that purity seal there on top of that flamer. So overall looking pretty cool. So I'm just going to wait for that to dry and then highlight it up, and the Dreadnought will be done. Dreadnought is done. Only took me a day to do it all. It looks pretty good. Looks pretty good. The base is quite nice. Highlighting decently done. I even did some writing on this large scroll here and glazed it with some Lamia median mixed with Agrax. I don't know if it made much difference, but it looks pretty decent. Yeah, looks pretty good, this dread. Looks pretty good. Be happy to field it. So with that squad and the commanders done, I have now finished all my infantry models for my Lion's Blade. I even repainted Azrael's robes to match the rest of my army. I don't know if I mentioned it, but I got this Azrael off of eBay because I did not want to put together the metal one. Anyway, so yeah, all the infantry is done. All the way down to the command squad here. Assault squad, devastators, and all my tactical marines. So they're all done. All the infantry's done. Just got to finish the dreadnought. Then I got to finish off my rhinos, which will just involve some weathering. And then the only step left to do, just for bonus, is all the decals. But I have to figure out what to do about that, if I'm going to do it at all. So the vehicles will be next, and then that will be my Lion's Blade. And then as extra on top of that, finish my Mastodon and my Leviathan Dreadnought, and that will be all my Dark Angels done. Alright, so I'm pleasantly surprised that my 1500 point list fits on my display board that I had actually made for my Ravenwing army, which is great because then I have to make another one. So this is 1500 points of pure Lion's Blade. This is what I'll be running. So we've got a Devastator squad with a Grav and a Rhino. We've got 4 tactical squads with a Grav cannon and Rhinos. We've got 2 tactical squads with Meltaguns and Rhinos. We've got Devastators with 2 las cannons with a Razorback. 1 assault squad that's just bare bones in a Razorback. And we've got assault squad with 2 flamers and a drop pod. We've got our 5 scouts. We've got 4 grav guns in a command squad, with the Sacred Standard in a drop pod, and we've got my dual flamer dreadnought in a drop pod. Barebones Company Master and Barebones Chaplain. And that's 1500 points Lion's Blade list for next week and for P and P7. Actually, I just have to finish off my vehicles now, and this will be completely done. And my Lion's Blade is done. And by that, I mean the whole Lion's Blade, excluding Leviathan and excluding Mastodon. The whole thing is done. I finished off the Rhinos, just with some dry brushing, some weathering on the sides. I just put some Astral Granite dust up the sides and on the treads to go with the Astral Granite on all the models. And I just highlighted the Aquila, and I did some writing on the scrolls, most of which don't say anything. One of them says CanHammer on it, just for fun. Yep, so I did all the Razorbacks and Rhinos exactly the same way. And then the pods, all I did is, so my pods were missing the little Legion symbols on the doors. I bought a whole bunch of them off eBay, half of them Blood Angel symbols, half of them Aquilas, and I just sprinkled them around each pod. And then I painted them all Uthuan gray, and the Dark Angel symbols I picked up with the Evil Sun Scarlet. This kind of makes them pop out a little bit on the pods. It kind of looks kind of cool. And that's it. My Lion's Blade Strike Force is done. So what I'm going to do now is actually work on my Leviathan and finish my Mastodon. But thank you for watching all these episodes where I've been slowly working on my Lion's Blade.